this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another. In my last video about the Somali woman being hit with a brick in Texas, I got a lot of comments, and many of you felt that this was not an issue for Black Americans to be involved in because they are immigrants, they're Somalis, they're Haitians, or whatever their ethnicity is, and they don't identify as Black, so we shouldn't be involved. And some went as far as to say that a Black American man would not throw a brick and hit a woman because she wouldn't give him her telephone number. So I'm asking the question, would a Black American man hit a woman with a brick for any reason? Would you do that? Can we safely say that a Black American man would not do that? Now, what I'm willing to say is that I don't think most Black American men would do that because our culture would not support it. And not in the part of the country that I live in. Doing something like that is not acceptable. Not even throwing a brick and hitting a man. Throwing a brick and hitting somebody in my part of the country is a sign of cowardice. So no, the only way you would do that is if you were a child trying to fight somebody that's bigger than you are, or some other extraordinary circumstance. But I will say that I don't believe that most Black American men would do that. So let's explore the immigrant aspect of this situation. They are saying that these were immigrants. Well, they are immigrants in America, and they are Black. I don't care what Somalis or Haitians or Jamaicans or anybody like that say. These people are Black, and they are nesting in Black communities. They are getting resources based on their Blackness. You think when they start calculating the Black people that are on welfare, that they are not including Jamaicans and Haitians and Somalis and all of these Black immigrants from other parts of the world in that group, and that's dragging us down? They are getting resources under the name of Blackness and then saying they're not Black. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't matter what they say. They're nesting in our communities, getting resources that should belong to us, going to schools, getting jobs and things that should really be for us. And then when it's calculated, they just say Black. American descendants of slavery, foundational Black Americans are the gatekeepers of Black America. There's a responsibility that goes with being a gatekeeper. And I think we can just forget and dismiss what all these folks on social media are saying about Boule this and Boule that. You are the gatekeepers of Black America. Black men and Black women. We are the gatekeepers because these people are nesting in our communities. Even when you listen to the Asians now, they sent the Asians to the Black community. So they're nesting in our communities, and we don't have any say-so over it because we haven't taken any say-so. We haven't taken any power. If we would band together and deal with these groups on a group basis like they deal with us, we would see some changes. They may be a little hub of them here and a hub of them there, but I guarantee you they're not in white communities. They're not in Chinatown. They're not in the barrio with Hispanics. They are most likely nesting in Black communities. If Black men were really functioning on a high vibrational, mature level, this is what you would do. When something like that goes wrong in the Black community, you would have a council of Black men, and you would counsel those men and women. And then you would tell them this is not what we're going to do in our neighborhood or in our community. That's what you should do. So when another group of Black people are nesting in your community and they do something like what happened to this woman, you should go to that group of men and say, we don't do that in this country. But you know, you have to be straight yourself. But if we were operating as Black Americans on the level that we should be operating as gatekeepers, as stakeholders in this country, we would be taking a leadership role, and we would not have to wait for white people to give it to us. See, those were men standing out there, and that was a woman. And if that woman is out of order, everybody needs to be called to the council. Now, this is where I'm thinking. This is how I'm thinking. Because this is our country. This is the only country we have. And if we're not careful, it will be overrun by immigrants doing any and everything. And then before you know it, they'll be taking over the country, and it will be in the same mess that the countries are in that they left. So the question of the hour is, would a Black American man hit a woman with a brick? If you say you wouldn't do that, then why? Why wouldn't you do it? Because that man did it, and the men standing around watching didn't seem to have a problem with it. So if a Black American man would not do that, then why wouldn't you do that? Would it be about character? Would you be afraid to do it? Why wouldn't you do it? That's a question to ask. But while that question is being answered, it should also bring up some other questions. What would you do to protect your community? What would you do? And what would it cost you? And how would you proceed to do that? Because it wouldn't be just one person. It needs to be a group of men. So instead of creating a gang where you're fighting each other, create a council where you uplift and build the community, so that anybody that comes into that community knows what the rules are. And don't tell me we don't have consequences. There are all kinds of consequences in the United States. And we really do have to work within the laws and the ordinances that we already have. Some of the things that these immigrants are doing in these communities are illegal, but they're not telling on each other, because they're trying to keep that little code that they had when they were back in the countries that they lived in. But when they come to the United States, they're under a whole new jurisdiction, a whole different form of government. And this is our form of government. But when we run away from our responsibility and say, well, I don't care, it's not my country, these white people or this, that, or the third, then other people will come in doing what they want to do. And those people will eventually get the power in our communities because we have shirked our responsibility. So I'm just saying that there needs to be some kind of covenant or some kind of council, even if it's in Section 8 housing, if it's in the projects, whatever hood you're living in, there should be a system of government in that community. And it should be working with the city council or the mayor or somebody else. But there should be chains of command, so people don't just feel like they can do anything in these communities, whether they are immigrants or whether they are black or white or any other race living in that community. There should be a system of order in these communities where children can ride their bicycles, mothers can push their babies, people can walk in the community, kids can run to the ice cream truck. There's no reason for everybody to be scared in these communities. These communities need to be brought under control. People need to have forms of recreation. People need to have forms of outlet where they don't feel their lives are at risk. And I still say, if you're living in that community, you're the majority in that community, you ought to be running that community. Because these immigrants are nesting in black communities. They'll start out in Minnesota, Wisconsin, or North Dakota, or somewhere like that, where there aren't a lot of black Americans, but they don't rest until they make their way to wherever we are. And then you don't come down here where I am talking shit to me. For this video, I decided not to go dig up the criminal records, police reports, and statistics on black men and crime, I decided to just ask the question, would a black American man hit a woman with a brick? And we're going to focus on that. If you would not do it, then why? I think this event was very instructive for black American men, because judging on my comment section, they thought that it was such a terrible thing to do that they claimed they wouldn't do it. And then they were trying to justify why the guy did it by telling what the woman was doing wrong. But at the same time, they did not want to acknowledge that that's something that they would do. Well, I think that's good. But it needs to be taken a step further. Nobody should be doing that in any community. And it's not going to happen to anybody but a black woman, which is why black men need to take a stand. So anyway, I'm still working on my voice, but I have to repeat myself for emphasis. Some of y'all are coming on here saying stuff like, they're Somalis, that's not our business, let's stay out of it. No, we can't stay out of it because it's happening here in our country and in our community. And I think that's how you have to look at it. You cannot give up your authority as an American citizen because you don't like immigrants. This is your country, and you are the gatekeepers of blackness. And whatever they can call themselves, anything they want to, you know as well as I know that nobody sees them as anything but black. That looked like a black woman. She might have some fuzzy looking hair, but that is a black woman. So let's not do that. Let's take charge of what is ours. This is black American men and black American women. This is your country until you leave. And you are the gatekeepers of this country. And when they come over here doing stuff like that, it's your responsibility to do some gatekeeping. Because white folk gonna gatekeep their stuff. So, I hope I make myself clear. No, that's not what we do. And a black American man who does that would be ostracized. He would be ostracized. So stop trying to make excuses for this man. What he did was wrong. And whether that woman is from Somalia or South Carolina, what he did was wrong. And we have to acknowledge that. What he did was wrong. My husband reminded me of high school when our school was playing a rival school. And after the ball game, our team had won. And there were some boys standing around from our school and the other school talking. And they were just having friendly conversation. And then a boy from our school threw a brick and tried to hit the boys from the other school. And the boys in our school were appalled. Everybody was appalled because the boys were trying to have friendly conversation. The game was over. The game was won. There was no point in anybody throwing a brick at anybody. That guy was ostracized. People talked about him all over town. Boys from our school to this day will call him dirty. They said he was a dirty player, and they called him a dirty N-word. So it really isn't something that a black American man could do and then it be accepted. So I'm going to end the video with the question that I began it with. Would a black American man hit a woman with a brick? So you tell me, you give me the answer. Would you hit a woman with a brick? Okay, y'all. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Share the video. And as always, have a great day.